It's a big day today in the Delphi case as Richard Allen is in the Supreme Court, as I'm sure most of you are aware of. It's been a roller coaster, crazy few months in the Delphi case. His attorneys, Rozzi and Baldwin, are looking for three things. They want Judge Gull gone, they want to come back, and they want a speedy trial. And they make some very fair points around that. I don't know if they'll get the treble, but in my opinion, if the Supreme Court justices want the public to have any bit of confidence in the prosecution of Richard Allen and how he is being processed through the justice system, then he should at least get them back. The conditions in which Richard Allen has been kept under and the absolute state of the scenes in which he has to meet his attorneys are disgraceful. His new attorneys are saying the same stuff as the old ones. If anything, it's getting worse. It's hard for anyone to look at that fact alone and say Richard Allen is being treated fairly as an innocent man until proven guilty. Because he's not. He's clearly been treated very differently. It appears that he is being treated as a guilty man who must prove his innocence. And now, he must also do it with court-appointed attorneys that he does not want. He is not allowed to use the ones he originally got and the ones he wants, because for the first time in both their careers they have been kicked off a case. Judge Frances Gull's handling of the whole situation has been atrocious, really, in my opinion. She's not alone. Judge Diener was the same. Everybody, every agency who touches this case in any way makes mistakes, makes big mistakes, and it just kind of feels like it's cursed. The ISP, the FBI, conservation officers, game wardens, crime scene lab technicians, prison wardens, prison officers, you name it. Like, what a gift those prison officers have been to Richard Allen's defence in the last few months. But that's a topic for a different video. And Richard Allen's defence team isn't immune. A friend and former co-worker of Andy Baldwin, Mitchell Westerman, or Mitchell Westerman, whatever you want to call him, is the whole reason we're at the Supreme Court. He took some crime scene photos behind Baldwin's back and sent them to another friend, who in turn sent them to another two people without Andy's knowledge. And Andy, of course, has the ultimate responsibility here because he trusted someone he should not have. And he left discovery materials in a room that Mitchell could access. Does that warrant both attorneys being kicked off the case? I'm not so sure about that. It's outrageous behaviour by Westerman. And his job, I think his current job, is in ethics and compliance. Astonishing. He has been arrested and charged for what he did. So technically, Andy Baldwin is the victim of a crime also. The last two videos I made on Delphi a few months back were only public for a few hours. Some comments and emails made me question what I thought about a few things. And because of that and who they were coming from, I kind of lost a bit of confidence in how my brain was processing information on this case. I was questioning the judge back then, and a lot of people thought I was way off. But I honestly thought there was a bias starting to show in this case in some of the language that she was using in her responses in court documents, which surprised me very, very much. And this was long before the Franks document and before the defence started screaming it from the rooftops. I also felt a bit uncomfortable expressing thoughts that may come across like I was being a bit too soft on the person that potentially did this crime. I couldn't help but big up the defence. I thought and still think that they are well capable of defending Richard, but I was even questioning myself around if I have some unconscious bias towards Richard Allen not being involved. Maybe because all the indications in this case for a very long time were indicating that at least one client was involved, and it's hard to shake that at least one of them isn't involved. Also the fact that a lot of things still don't make sense. Hopefully they will after a trial, but especially the crime scene, which I've been saying for a very long time. So the last two videos were public only for a few hours before I panicked and put them on members only because of my insecurity around how my brain was processing information. I have since put them back on public because I'm just over it. I stand by what I said at the time. I was being honest about my thoughts, that's all. I don't believe I have a bias in this case, and I'm always open to changing my mind. I'm not an expert, and I never claim to be. Another thing was, and is that I don't want to get lumped in with some of the lunatic channels that cover the Delphi case on YouTube. But that blanket association is going to happen in the next few months, and again, I'm over it. I know that people who have been around this channel or watched my Delphi videos know my thoughts on people, channels, content that have been going after family members and friends of Abby and Libby for no reason for years. And no matter what happens in the Supreme Court, this case, I believe, will become even more divisive and polarised in the coming months and years. I'm not pro-Rick or anti-Rick. I'm pro getting complete justice for Abby and Libby, and pro objectively looking at the facts while keeping an open mind. And it's very clear that the prosecution do not want to be dealing with Rozzi and Baldwin at a trial. They told us so. Sure, they asked for them to be removed. If they had a mountain of evidence that proves Richard Allen's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt, then why bother? Like, a lot of head honchos also want them gone. The fact that Doug Carter turned up for the court hearing where they were kicked off and not all the other ones, it says a lot. And I do believe there was pressure of some sorts, even indirectly, on Judge Frances Gull to get rid of the defence team. And I wasn't surprised. She was more than happy to break all process, all procedure, do it behind closed doors, shady fuel conspiracy theories. Like, this is a real life horror movie of a case. What the family of the girls and the community has gone through is just tragic, and it's going to get worse. It's far from over. A trial in this case means having everything out in the open, ready for Netflix or Apple or whoever to make a 10-part 3-season series that will take this whole thing to another level and really hurt the girls' families and the Delphi community even more. But what makes all that 10 times worse is the consequences of charging someone with this crime and failing to convict them at a trial. Prosecutors know this. I wish they considered it a bit more before they rushed some search warrants and the PCA on Richard Allen. At this stage, given what has happened, even if Richard Allen is convicted, I don't believe it will bring the complete sense of justice that people want. It seems there's always going to be a group of people who are going to think he is completely innocent, no matter what evidence, and always be a group that thinks he is involved but not alone. Not just from the general public, but from senior officers involved in this case. If the Indiana Supreme Court does not take action, it's not just going to fuel conspiracy theories, it's going to validate some of them. And it's going to be impossible for any logical person, no matter what you think of Richard Allen, to say that he was treated fairly and is getting a fair trial. Like, if they don't take action and step in, they're going to lose the trust of the public. It's already on its knees. They must step in my opinion. They need to ensure Richard Allen gets a fair trial. If they don't step in and take action, the whole justice system in Indiana is going to take a hit. And in my opinion, them taking action doesn't hurt Abby and Libby. Them taking action helps them. It's going to help them get real justice. This needs to be a fair trial. This needs to be processed and proceed in a way that doesn't open up the prosecution to multiple appeals in the future, even if they get a conviction. I would be absolutely stunned, given the circumstances, if they don't take some action. I hope they will. But also, like I said earlier, everybody who touches this case seems to make mistakes. It feels cursed. So I'm hoping they take action. I would be shocked if they didn't, but I wouldn't be surprised.